Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to begin. But it is so wonderful to be here today. To start today's ceremony, I'm going to ask for the invocation. I'm going to ask Reverend Paul D. Everett, the senior pastor of our neighbor, Phillips Metropolitan CME Church, right across the street, to bless us with the invocation. Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you for allowing us to share with you on today. Let's pray together. Oh God, we thank you for allowing our community to share in the dedication ceremony and ribbon cutting celebration this afternoon. Lord, we are grateful for all who have made contributions of time, of talent, and of treasure to empower and impact this community with facilities of excellence like this. So will you come now and bless this facility with your protection and your grace? May the caretakers and the residents make great use of this facility, and may the community embrace this blessing as a token of love. Finally, will you remind us that all that we have is yours, and it is your desire that we become good stewards. So then for all this, we are grateful and thankful the same. It is with this prayer we give you praise and thanks. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much for that wonderful blessing. Thank you. So I guess I should formally introduce myself. My name is Annette Sanderson, and I'm proud to be the Executive Director of the Housing Authority of the City of Hartford. You will have to excuse me if I get a bit emotional. I didn't think this would happen, but it is happening to me right now. So this is a wonderful day. This has been a long day coming, and there were times when I didn't think we would see this day, but yes, we are here. And we'll talk, various people will come before you and talk about how we got here, but yes, we are here. We're moving forward. So I want to give you just a broad overview of Nelton Court, but before I do that, I want to talk about what Nelton Court was. Nelton Court was built in 1950. There were 154 units. Families, low-income public housing residents lived here. They raised their children here. I can't tell you the number of people that I know that grew up here. I just want to acknowledge one person in particular sitting in the front row. He didn't know I was going to do this. But Mr. Norman, could you stand up and just... It is wonderful. It is wonderful. And I'm sure that there are others. I'm not trying to slight anybody, but I'm sure that there are others, and I appreciate the fact that you all have come here today. But let me talk about where we're at now. You know, Nelton Court was a community. Right now, you see before you 28 buildings. 28 buildings. That took some time to build. There are 28 buildings. They're just buildings. But every time I came to tour the development, what I would think about would be the people that would come here, that would raise their families here, that would raise their children. I thought about the children that would grow up here. I'm a public of public housing, so I know what it's like to be a child growing up in public housing. And I was dedicated to making sure that the children that will ultimately grow up in this development will have a decent place to live. They should have a decent place to live, and we were all committed to making sure that happened. So again, we're starting out with 80 apartments, 80 units. But ultimately, this will grow into a community. This will be a community. I look forward to the day when children will be able to say, well, I may not be around, well, you know, in the future, children will be able to say, you know, I grew up in Nelton Court. I grew up in the new Nelton Court, and will be proud to be able to say that they grew up in the Nelton Court. So that's what I held with me every day as I came to work and worked on this development, and along with some other people that I'm going to acknowledge at a later point. But it's about doing what's right for the families that will live here. It's about doing what's right for the families that will live here. And again, we are here today. I'm so proud that we're here today. And again, this is a very, very special day for us. Excuse me. So we couldn't have gotten here without having the money to build it, right? So I am happy that HUD, in its infinite wisdom, decided to work with the Housing Authority a few years ago and decided to put forth, make the commitment and put forth the dollars to fund this redevelopment effort. So there are many people that worked on this project from HUD's perspective. I'm going to let Suzanne Piacentini come forward and acknowledge those people, but I'd like to introduce to you Suzanne Piacentini of the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, and she serves as the Hartford Field Office Director. Thank you, Suzanne.
Hi, everyone. Based on the weather forecast, I cut my remarks really short. But I want to say really what a pleasure it is to be here today and to really offer our sincere congratulations to the City of Hartford, the Hartford Housing Authority, Annette, thank you for your kind words about HUD, the Board of Commissioners, and to the past and future residents on this dedication day for the new Nelton Court. Along with offering our congratulations, I'd like to recognize 3 of our public housing staff who are with me today, who worked tirelessly on this project. I get to stand here today. They do all of the work, and they deserve our praise and congratulations as well. I don't know where you guys are. Jennifer Gottlieb-Elazari, our Public Housing Director, and 2 of her staff, Tony McGant and James Scotland. HUD is very pleased to have played the major funding role here at Nelton Court. This was funded in a day when we were providing a significantly more percentage of funding for projects. HUD provided 97% of the funding here, a total of $26.4 million. I'm not going to go into the breakdown, but it was through a variety of our HUD programs, including some special environmental grants as well. But it really isn't, as Annette said, the dollar investment alone. Since 2010, we've been happy to work here with the Hartford Housing Authority, transforming these former barrack-style units, which we all knew well, to 80 beautiful, beautiful new units. I've had to tour these earlier, and they really are super units. I think anyone would be proud to call themselves a Nelton Court resident. So in closing, really, truly a heartfelt congratulations to everyone who has played such an important role in making this day a reality. And know that this is just the beginning. As many of you know, this area of Hartford was designated a promise zone, the only one in New England, and this truly is a testament that what can be done and a reason why the promise zone was rewarded here, because there are people who have a plan and are able to get things done. So again, congratulations.
All right.
And I'm blessed to work with a great Board of Commissioners. And they're here today, and one of them was on a program, and she'll come to you later and speak to you later. One of them was not on a program, but he's on a program now. Because he has been the person that I've worked with very closely, someone who has done a temperature check with me almost every day to say, hey, how you feeling? How's Nelton Court going along? Do you need any advice? What can I do for you and the staff today? So obviously we need to have Commissioner William Lou Brown come before you today and say a few words.
I'll keep it short. But seriously, one of the people in this, John, be quiet. And the only reason we didn't call Glenn, because Glenn was not at the same time you came here. She talked earlier about, Suzanne, about the people in this community who have a plan. One of those plans is put forth by Andrew Woods and my brother's keepers. He has a plan. Listen to him. As we remember Alan Green, let's not forget Simon Conover, the developer. 2 humanitarians, Alan Green and Simon Conover. 2 humanitarians. We here at the Housing Authority for the City of Hartford carried on. The staff, the management, the people. We carried on, guided by the moral compass of Ellen Green and Simon Conover. They gave it to us. And we will carry on. And to the staff, 24/7, you know who you are. To my fellow commissioner, going forth, Booker, we're going to set a moral compass from here. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Commissioner. My friend, thank you for your words of wisdom. Thank you for your support. Thank you for emailing me and texting me at 5:30 in the morning.
That's because we're kids from the projects. Stowe Village, Bellevue Square, Nelton Court, Rice Heights. We're products. We're going to make it happen.
Thank you again. So obviously, you know, we had several partners working with us on this overall development. And a person that I had the opportunity to speak to a lot through this entire process was Mr. Jim Joaquin, the CEO. I'm going to get your title right, Jim. Did I leave out a title? CEO of the Simon Conover Development Corporation. You know, it goes without saying that we've had some bumps and bruises. You know, we've all suffered some bumps and bruises throughout this process, this redevelopment process. However, you know, Jim and I have kept an ongoing dialogue. And the goal was to work through these issues, and we have. I mean, is everything perfect? No. But I did have someone that whenever I called him, he took my call. Whenever he called me, I took his call. Sometimes we didn't want to call each other, right, Jim? Sometimes emails work better. But again, I thank you for your for being responsive to my calls and emails. Thank you. So, I'm sorry, so I present to you Mr. Jim, I got caught up in the moment, I present to you Mr. Jim Joaquin, the CEO of the Simon Conover Development Corporation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Annette. I have to get my glasses here. Good afternoon, everybody. Again, thank you, Annette, Mr. Mayor, Reverend Board of Commissioners, Mrs. Green and family, friends, residents, and honored guests. Thank you very much for the opportunity to address this crowd at the ribbon cutting. And as Annette says, I too wondered from time to time, but I am very delighted to be here today. Humbled, excited, honored, and proud. I'd like to recognize our development team and the partnership of our development team with the Hartford Housing Authority and KBE Building Corporation. My right-hand man on the job, Nuke Brainerd. This has really taken a community to have this be a reality. When Annette was kind enough to invite me to speak, unfortunately you're going to learn people in my organization, when they give me a mic, it's not quite so fast. But when Annette asked me to speak, I actually wondered, what am I going to say at Nelton Court that's not already going to be said? And there are going to be plenty of stories over the course of time. What I wanted to tell you was essentially welcome home to the residents and welcome home to the new residents. And this concept of having a place that's safe and comfortable and inviting and a place of community is very near and dear to the Simon Conover Company, to our development company, to the Conover family. As you know, our founder and principal, my very good friend, my mentor, my teacher, a philanthropist, Simon Conover, recently passed away. A lifetime, 93 years old, a lifetime of stories that simply captivate and mesmerize. A multitude of a lifetime of lessons. Integrity, adversity, promise and commitment, risk-taking, common sense, the merits of simple true pleasures, and how to have a full life. It starts to a degree with a home. So with that in mind, if you'll indulge me, I want to tell you a quick story, because I think it does circle back 100%. Home was a place that was very near and dear to Simon. And again, I had the privilege of spending the last almost 8 years, almost daily, with this gentleman who has a perspective that I've never had the pleasure and privilege of spending time with in my life. So Simon, I heard this story very recently. I was down at his funeral and I heard this story from a family member. And I want to bring it back to the concept of home, because it is near and dear, and it does explain why we have spent as an institution, as a company, as a family, a lot of time seeking for ways, creative ways to revitalize communities. When Simon was 16 in Poland, the Nazis invaded. And so at 16 years of age, he was separated from his family and had to go to a labor camp. And when he was at the labor camp, he acted up. Very surprising, if not so surprising if you know Simon, but he wasn't going to, let people push him around. He was able to escape. He escaped from the labor camp. He was caught. He was sent to Siberia to a working farm. In the farm, he found that with a bunch of buddies who were similarly situated, they knew that they were not going to last long at the farm. So together with 7 other colleagues, the 8 of them escaped by digging under a trench under a fence, and they escaped from the Siberian camp. And 5 of them were shot during the escape process, and Simon was one of 3. He was 18 years old. He found his way over the course of the next month back to his home in Poland. And his parents were still in their house, albeit under very tight control. And his parents welcomed him back into his house. Now I'll get emotional, excuse me. Welcomed him back into his home. But they knew that he would be searched for. So his parents brought him downstairs. They took floorboards out. They hid him. And while he was hidden underneath the floorboards, the German and the Russian soldiers came into the home. And they searched. And they searched. And they didn't find him. And his parents risked their life. And when the soldiers left, his mother and father said to him, "Simon, you have to leave." And he took his 16-year-old brother, and they left. And his 16-year-old brother, when they were about to cross out of Poland, turned around and said to Simon, "I can't go, I want to go back home." And Simon said, "You mustn't, you must come with me." They had $1 sewn into the lining of their pockets that their mother had carefully sewn in so they would have provisions to take care of themselves. His brother turned and went home. Simon had no choice but to continue. He never saw his parents again. He never saw his family again. That was the last time he saw his brother. Home is something that Simon remembers, and remembered with such passion and such care, and what it means to be able to have a safe place to come home to. So his stewardship is what has led the very DNA of our organization, our company, to commitment to neighborhoods and communities, to pride and integrity through adversity without ever forgetting the roots. He's called on us to dig deep with our integrity, to understand a sense of right from wrong, a sense of commitment, a fundamental belief that home is a sanctuary where your families will be nurtured, will grow, will celebrate, and yes, will grieve. But here at Nelton Court, you'll come together. The word community has been repetitive. It is a community. Thank you for letting me share with you a little bit about Simon's history, to tell you a little bit about why home and revitalization is so important. Simon recently went home, and I can only imagine in my heart of hearts the homecoming that he had, and how gratified he would be today to know that after these years, that Nelton Court will soon once again be home to returning people, to the residents, and to new residents, and that they together will create a new community that creates hope and a sense of community and friendship. And I'm positive that he would be very pleased with the efforts of all. And as Annette has said and acknowledged, it has not been an easy journey for anyone, and there's a part of the journey left to go. But I'm confident that from the people who I've had the pleasure to get to know better than I ever thought I would over the course of the last 4 years, that there is an answer here. And in the interim, we're very proud to have the residents live at Nelton Court. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim, for those very moving comments. We also want to acknowledge the neighborhood. The neighborhood has had to be patient with this redevelopment effort. Obviously, whenever you build a development like this, there's a lot of activity. There are road closures. There may be things that may not be that the neighborhood may not be used to in terms of detours and things of that nature. But I want to thank the neighborhood, the Northeast NRZ in particular, for their support throughout this process. And coming to speak to you today on behalf of the NRZ, we have Miss Darlene Childs. Thank you, Darlene Robertson Childs. And I also, as she comes forth, I also want to acknowledge and thank her mother, who's been a long-time resident of the Northeast, Miss Helen Nixon, as well. Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to speak this afternoon. I would like to first take this time to welcome you all to our Northeast neighborhood to help celebrate this awesome occasion of the opening of the Nelton Court. This is awesome. On behalf of Northeast NRZ and its community, we would like to show our appreciation to Annette Sanders and her entire Hartford housing staff. You guys are fantastic. You guys worked endlessly on this housing development to help guide it into fruition. Please accept our heartfelt appreciation for the excellent job you and your staff have done over the past several months in leading the revitalization of Nelton Court. Now, we can't let this effort stop here. Come on over here. We now need to focus on economic development to help create jobs in this community. This is a new beginning for those of our residents who are beginning to cast doubt and lose hope. That was beginning to cast doubt and lose hope. But we now have, join me everyone, we gotta clap again. We now have 80 brand new homes, not apartments, 80 brand new homes in the 06120 community. Y'all don't sound too happy about that. I'm ecstatic about this. This is an opportunity. I see now, y'all gonna let my emotions show. This is a wonderful occasion, and I think all of us should be so happy and pleased that Hartford Housing Authority took the time out to want to invest in this community, give back to this community. So many families were born and raised there. We raised our parents, raised their children. The children, we want them to come back to raise their children. So I'm excited. I want you guys to be just as happy as I am. And it's also good to have our city and state federal government come together to form a partnership to help bring the quality of life standards back into our communities. That's wonderful. Thank you guys. Thank you. I don't know if you all realize that North Hartford is on the verge of some big changes. This is a jump start for our new beginnings. I'm looking forward to much, much more economic development to which will stimulate from this project. Standing here today brings back some fond memories of this area. Excuse me. I'm proud to welcome this new 80-unit housing development. North Hartford is a culturally diverse community and is a home to over 24,000 residents. The community has always been filled with accomplished, grassrooted people. We remain rich in culture. We are once again becoming the home of many great opportunities. Our community has resources that have established connections all the way to the White House. We are the home of many great initiatives recognized by President Obama and his administration. Zip code 06120 is finally receiving some attention. The Northeast NRZ is proud to be in collaboration with the Hartford Housing Authority, an anchor of so many housing developments in our community. We also have Community Solutions, who's also doing a great work over at the Swift Factory. and they're the catalyst for the Promise Zone. Hartford community that cares, which you guys should hear more about. Andrew Woods, wonderful guy, doing great things. He's the catalyst for the My Brother's Keeper program, the violence-free zone, which is an excellent resource for families moving into this new housing development. 06120, that's a place where we once said, it takes a village to raise a family. Our motto today is now, it takes a village to raise the bar. This village. Please continue to support this community, our neighbors, and others. Thank you.
Thank you for those remarks. So, I want to acknowledge the support in this process of our state rep, Brandon McGee. He could not be with us today, but again, he was always very helpful and always willing to assist us in any way that he could. So, I had the privilege of introducing one of my law school classmates, who happens to serve as the mayor of this great city. So it is my great honor to introduce to you Mayor Pedro Segarra.
Well, good afternoon. You know, one of the disadvantages that I have is that I watched the weather forecast this morning, and they announced that there was going to be lightning and rain. And I have a little bit of problems with blood pressure, and the flashes from the cameras are increasing that blood pressure a little bit of a notch, because I don't know if it's a flash or if it's lightning that's about to strike me. I'm no longer in the race, so please keep me safe. I'm also jealous because I didn't grow up in public housing, as did Annette and Lou. My family was probably too poor to afford public housing. But on a more serious note, I just want to extend another welcome to the Green family. I know that Mr. Green was such a passionate promoter of getting this project underway, but more importantly, making sure that this particular project would honor the families with the type of housing that would not only provide a roof over people's head, but would provide the fabric for those families to be strong and to prosper. So thank you, and we continue to honor his memory, and we thank you for having shared him with us during this most important phase of his life. Just have a couple of words. I do want to thank our federal partners for their support in this project. We're going to need a little bit more support. We do have a couple of other places known as Bowles Park and Westbrook Village.
I've heard of them.
Right? And I think that it is an investment. It does cost money, but I think that when we consider the cost of creating wonderful spaces like this for our families, we should consider the cost of not making these investments. You see, it's not just about the brick and the mortar. It's just not about brand new shiny homes. It's about reduced asthma rates. It's about affording our families with more disposable income so that they can get a better diet. It's about better academic and educational attainment. And it is about reducing homicides in our cities, because when you have a community with homes that are respectful and value the people, the families, and the children within them, gives a certain different dynamic to those communities, and it does give people hope, it makes them feel valued, and in the process it makes for safer communities. So I welcome this brand new project here, but I also welcome the new collaborations that would exist with My Brother's Keeper, with our faith-based community, which needs to create and needs to be an important partner as we rebuild and build stronger communities. Faith-based community is an important element. But also the partnerships that will exist with the Promise Zone, as we move forward to implementing more and more projects that will bring greater opportunity to our community. So I'm looking forward to most especially seeing our children being able to play in their front yards and backyards and not being trapped in the concrete jungles that used to be Stowe Village. And I know that that's how Annette refers to that particular place, because you didn't have the amenities for our kids. So this will be most beneficial to our families who will be living here. This particular development will have a positive impact on the North End community. As I said, it's not just about the housing, it's about everything else that will come along with it. Yes, our city does have one of the highest ratios of affordable housing in the state, but that doesn't mean that we don't have a very strong need to make sure that the housing is not just affordable, but that it is quality housing and it honors our family. So again, I want to thank our commissioners who have worked so hard. We know that you get paid a lot of money to be commissioners and spend a lot of hours making sure that we get our money's worth. So I want to thank you for diligently having pursued this and the other development projects that are underway. And I want to congratulate the neighborhood most especially. I want to honor the families that will reside in these properties, because after all, that is what's most important here, our families, our neighborhood. So thank you, and I look forward to continuing to work with you in whatever capacity that may be to make sure that we continue to have a better, a stronger, a safer, and a more productive place for our families and our children. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, I know that, we invited several other public officials, and several of them couldn't attend because they had other obligations. But I do know that we have Rich Kehoe from Senator Blumenthal's office here today, and I'd like to acknowledge him. Rich, where are you? There you are. Thank you for coming today. Please send our regards to Senator Blumenthal. We look forward to giving him a tour of this facility. Thank you. So, if I'm following the order that I should follow at this point, I just want to this is my opportunity to thank people on our team for the work that they did. So, this obviously, and I use the word team because, I thank you all for acknowledging me, but we wouldn't be here today if it weren't for the work of for the work of the authority staff. So I'm going to try not to call individual names, but you all know who you are, whether it be the finance department, whether it be the maintenance staff that took a look at this development when we needed them to. We had maintenance people here today doing what we needed them to do today. The leasing staff, all too many people to mention, but again, I just want to thank you. I am blessed to serve as your executive director. We have a great staff, and I just want to acknowledge your efforts in all of this. I also want to acknowledge the efforts of the entities that represented us throughout this process, whether they be the lawyers or other consultants. We worked with a great owner's rep, and I want to acknowledge them as well. Y Construction Services, thank you, Brian Walsh, for being here today. Please pass my regards along to David O'Hearn. Great keeping the eye on us, keeping the eye on things for us here. I want to ask two individuals to come forward. Timothy Safone and Mark Fitzgerald. Mark Fitzgerald. So let me tell you about Mark first. Okay. So I'm gonna tell you about Mark. I'm not gonna tell everything. Mark served as our clerk of the works. Mark was on site every day. Mark saw everything. He was our eyes and ears on the ground from day one. He told us things we should know. Tim would get, quite honestly, Tim would get a bit nervous whenever I would show up on site, and I would say, no, I don't want to talk to you, I want to talk to Mark. I want Mark to walk me around, because Mark would show me everything. I like looking at things from Mark's perspective. But Mark, I want to sincerely thank you for everything that you have done You have been totally committed to this process. Whenever we've asked you to do anything, you've done that. You've protected our interests. You've protected the interests of the future residents of this development. So I want to just thank you. You deserve a special praise. Thank you so much. And Tim. And Tim.
Good afternoon, everyone.
So Tim Safone serves as the Deputy Executive Director for Real Estate Development and Capital Improvements. We also have with us today, I think he's still here, Roy Bowling, who serves as a Deputy. He's standing in the rain. Roy, what are you doing standing in the rain? Thank you, Roy, for being here today, too. But Tim serves as the other deputy, and Tim was charged. He was our point person, the authority's point person for this development process. And I know that Tim spent a great deal of his time, blood, sweat, and tears, right?
Still on my hair.
On this development. And it's funny in that, you know, he'd come to work in the morning, I'd come to work in the morning. You know, we could always figure out if we were stressed about, you know, something. So he would say, you know, I woke up at 2:30 in the morning thinking about this, about Nelton Court. And I said, well, you know what, you should have called me, because I was up at 2:30 in the morning thinking about this as well, thinking about Nelton Court as well. So Tim, I just want to thank you. You have worked hard on this development. You've given it your all. I've supported your efforts, and I truly thank you. We wouldn't be here today if it weren't for people like Mark and Tim that have put everything into this. So.
No, I don't.
So, we're going to, if I'm following the order of events here, we're going to do our official ribbon cutting. So I would ask our commissioners and the mayor and HUD and Mr. Joaquim to come forward to join us over here, please.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This is a day of celebration and a day of honoring. November 22nd, 2010, we were on Nelson Street and we did the groundbreaking. October, whatever the day is today, 28th, 2015, here we are. We're here to celebrate, celebration indeed. Homes, in my day job where I do get paid in it, I see people every day looking for homes. I see every day people wanting quality, affordable, safe, clean housing, everything that everybody wants in this country. And that's what we do at the Housing Authority. And that started with Alan Green. So I thank Annette. She got this over the finish line, and all the staff who are here today. But it started with Alan. It started November 22nd, 2010 on Nelson Street. I said, I won't be emotional today. I had the honor to work with Alan. I don't know how our lives came together, and I do know the story when I was appointed commissioner by the mayor. Alan had heard some stories about me. I don't know what they were, and he said, why did they give me Marilyn Rossetti? And someone, a wise friend of his, said, you know, call her, talk to her. And we ended up having the best friendship. And I was lucky enough to share many conversations with Alan, particularly the last few months of his life. His love of Hartford, his love of his work, his love of his family. My commitment to him on his street and getting this project forward with all the people that are here. So it's so wonderful today that Alan E. Greenway will be here permanently. That Connie, Winnie, Wesley, Bruce, Vivian, Leah will know that people will always say his name. His name will be on their lips. Daily, weekly, monthly. He will not be forgotten. He will be a permanent part of our lives, of the people here, and of Nelton Court. So I can't thank you enough, and I can't thank everyone who made this possible. Have a good day.
So, we're going to have Mrs. Connie Green come forward and say a few words. And Lenny will join us as well, right?
I thank you all so very much. Those of you who knew Alan know how much he loved Hartford, how much he loved being able to, in his last position on this earth, work with the Hartford Housing Authority. It was a dream. He said, Con, I have my dream job. And so the family who's here today, Lenny, my daughter, his grandson, Wesley, and Wesley was only a little baby when Alan was still on this earth, but he called him Poppy. And we also have Vivian Leah, who's here today too, who is the newest granddaughter, who's 10 months. I want to say just one quick thing. We always talked about 3 things were important to make lives thrive. You need to have a good place to live, housing. You needed to have quality education, and you needed to have employment. And to have this now is the beginning of that dream, to really make Nelton Court a part of a stable piece of this community. I thank you so much for keeping the Green family a part of your dream. Thank you.